Hello! I'm Cliffside. My pronouns are they, them. And this is Cliffside Permaculture.
What are you doing up there, Crazy?
Well, we're gonna do something I'm terrified of today. And hope I succeed. It's a Saturday, and I got a story for you. Alright? It's got to do with the hood being up there. Alright? So my story is, how many years ago was it? I believe it was 2008, 2007, something like that. And I was still pretty young, like in my 20s. And the only car that I ever did the spark plugs on, 2 snapped off. Now, this was a Beamer. It was a Beamer that was the 1970s that had been sitting in a lady's garage since her husband passed away in the late 1970s. So it had been stagnant for 20 plus years at the time that we tried, 30 plus years at the time that we tried, come to think of it. Somewhere in that range anyhow. And so all of the lubricants had turned to corrosives and the oxidation had gotten quite thick. So my only experience with spark plugs is an absolutely horrifying experience. But I have an engine light going around on this car. And it's time. You want to have a peek at the foliage first? That tree's lost everything on its branches. Some things are still green. It is currently November 19th. Or is it November 20th? At any rate, whichever one of those is a Saturday. And the sun sets behind the hill way over there, so hopefully I got a ways to go with some light left, but I don't want to waste it. I gotta get on this because so the tools that I've brought out to start are pretty limited, and we'll see what I end up really needing, because I may end up dragging out the whole toolkit eventually. You know how it always goes. So we got a torque drive I've never opened and that might need batteries. The right kind of spark plugs. Oh, I already know I need to get the spark plug measuring thingy, so that's not out here yet. Spark plug thingamajiggy. It's the magnetic kind. It's 5/8 according to the internet. That's the right kind. God, I hope it is. The socket that seems to be for every single bolt in my car, and then both of my drivers, right? And you know, freak out on me if you want, but that is something that is hotly debated on the internet, and I'm gonna try it. And then we got this. We'll see if I get to it, because I could do that any day. I'm just going to put it in a passenger car. And just in case I need to get in tight spaces, I got one of these. It's a tight spaces ratcheting screwdriver. How about that? So, I'm going to go hopefully find the spark plug measuring tool that I used to have like 6. I think now I have only like 3. And I've never done spark plugs, so that's just thank you, Grandpa, is what that is. And I'll be back. Alright, so added to the mix are my friend, some coffee, another friend, and this little widget. And I'm gonna put you in fast mode, overlooking me working on the car. So see you soon. This is easier than I thought. Looky. It came right out. It wasn't a problem. I was so scared. Now that is beat. There's like nothing left of that pin. So, by the way, the video I'm referencing is going to be in the description down below. So if you just hit the little plus or more or down button, depending on which device you're on, you'll be able to see what I'm looking at to know what's up here. All right, I'm gonna go back on fast. There's another one. Let's bring you over to an angle, a different angle maybe. Have you had enough of the fall foliage in the background, or are you actually wanting to see the car? Interior, there's not a whole lot of things I can do to make it super visible, but maybe you can see a little better what I'm doing this way. Switching back over to fast though, this isn't an instructional video. The instructions are in the expandable box below. This is an absolute noob doing it, so you get an idea how difficult it is. thought my gardening community people, who are my main watchers, might appreciate the sunset at least as much as me struggling with the car, if not more. But it's reached the moment of truth. The moment where I can show you all 4 of the achy spark plugs and get out the very last spark plug I'm about to put in. So, let me see if I can hold these in a way. There we go. I keep being off screen towards the bottom, and then let me backdrop it. Sorry, you don't get to see the sunset for a second. And then now these come with like a plastic sheath around them, and I'm gonna put the box in my catch-all. But look at that. So I did have an engine light coming on saying that my engine light was saying that I needed to replace just spark plug in cylinder 1.
While I was in here, even though it's actually just 2 screws to gain access. Now, I showed you in fast mode at one point that even the Hayes Mechanics Repair Manual does say to use anti-seize. Just be very careful not to get it on the node, and you don't need much, because it spreads. So I'm like at the bottom, making sure I don't get it on the node. And I've been spreading it with my finger and then using a tissue to get it off my finger as best I can. So don't put much in there. Just like enough. And then I saw the mechanic dudes. This has been very stressful for me. I saw the mechanic dudes all kind of using these as hand tools, like a screwdriver, so I've been doing that. Always back turn. I always check the magnets actually got it too. Anytime you are screwing metal into metal, back turn until you feel the threads interlock. And then you saw me standing around trying to figure out my torque wrench, which is a new tool to me. So I hand tighten it here, right up until I kind of like can't anymore. And then I have this pre-adjusted. Now you're supposed to take the tension off of it and store it at the loosest ever. But he said like 18 newton meters, which I think I'm closer to. I think I'm lower than that, but it's okay. Yeah. So, and then this little 5/8 to 3/4 adjuster keeps getting stuck in things, which is very annoying. I'm gonna try it with the extension that this came with first. Nope. Maybe? Nope. Not this. Well, no. I don't think it's gonna fit though, so. It is really, really helpful. Tight. Really tight. To have the catch-all bin. Luckily, this puppy ratchets, and I am holding it at the torque point as well, just to make sure I'm not putting torque on the spark plug. I just want to put the torque on the tool, and then it clicks, and that means it's in. Theoretically, it would be great if this came out correctly. And then the only thing left is, I don't know if this matters or not, but I have been trying to make sure I didn't leave dust on the coils, and the coils are weirdly like suctioned on there. Sure that that's exactly how it's supposed to be. I'm certain of that, but it's just kind of weird to me. I wasn't expecting as much resistance pulling it out, like that wasn't mentioned in any of the videos I watched. Alright, so this one's going to be a little bit harder to get back in, only because the pluggy thing is like counterset up into an adjacent piece of plastic that is going to make it harder to plug back on. Alright, so I got it lined up. Feel free to just be watching the sunset. Alright, so all that's left is click and screw it in and then see if I can turn it on. So I'm going to put you back on fast real quick here.
This is gonna be a terrifying moment of truth for me, just because I'm still nervous about all this stuff. I'm gonna put the window down. It starts. Currently the check engine light's still on. But I don't know if I need to manually clear that. It starts. That check engine light is still on, but there's a reasonable likelihood that I might need to actually either clear it or drive a bit for it to notice that it's historic. So, that's a success. It modulates its speed based on whether its battery's charged off or not, and it will stall eventually. And we still got sunlight. Hooray. Thank you so much for visiting the Cliffside and the Cliffside's Prius. This has been Permaculture, and maybe I'll just put it in super fast mode and let you finish watching the sunset. What do you think? Does that sound good? I bet that sounds good.